Today, I want to talk about something that I've been seeing a little bit in spiritual circles and new age circles and wellness circles. And that is a tendency to want to basically just opt out, just to get out of all of the difficult decisions and the divisiveness and definitely the hate that's in this country right now. And I see that. I see that desire for sure to just want to say, look, it is all too hateful. It's all too divisive. It's not spiritual. I want to live in light and love. I want to contribute from a place of my highest good. It hurts my heart to partake in these things, to watch these things. I would rather just, you know, focus on what I can grow here in my own circles. And that's lovely, and it has a lot of appeal. I recently rewatched the movie Network. I think it was like the 70s, late 70s. And I don't know if you've ever seen it, but I definitely recommend it. There's a famous speech from that movie where it's basically, I'm angry and I won't take it anymore. And he invites everybody to shout it out their windows. But before that, he also speaks to something that I very much relate to, which is just leave me alone. Just leave me alone in my house. Just leave me alone with my steel belted radials, whatever those are. And just I just don't want to partake in any of that, in any of the ugliness. And I have recently even watched some people that I really admire in circles that I follow, circles that are about raising consciousness, which is so much of what my work is about. Basically saying, look, both these candidates are bad, both sides are bad. I'm not going to take a stand. I'm not going to partake. I'm not going to decide. I'm not going to put my marker down on anything. And again, I really do resonate with that. There are times in the morning I wake up, I just want to put the covers back over my head and not do this work, because this work is enjoyable when times are good. Talking about unity and compassion and raising consciousness. This is all great and fun to talk about when, life is relatively stable. But we are living in a time of crisis. And what I'm seeing is that now those principles are being used to basically opt out or bypass the work and the responsibility that we have as human beings. So there are two kinds of consciousness that we talk about in spiritual worlds and that I write about, and that will definitely be discussed in my upcoming book. So, first is duality consciousness. Now, duality consciousness means that we see the world and ourselves in terms of black and white. Out in the world, there's good and there's evil, there's right and there's wrong, everything in its place, and that often comes to the people as well. So, in this case, a lot of times people are also told to stay in their place. And there's a certain imposed social hierarchy, and we kind of know what that is. And it's the status quo that holds that in place. In this social hierarchy, in this duality consciousness, people have different values of worth. Some people are more worthy than others. That's the idea. And in duality consciousness, then, if somebody gets something, they're taking it from us. In duality consciousness, there's never enough to go around. Everything has to be fought for, um, and split up, supposedly according to worth, supposedly according to our work ethic and our value, which it just never works out that way anyway. But duality consciousness supports the idea of a zero sum system. And zero sum means if this person wins, somebody else has to lose. It believes in the idea of scarcity. It propagates ideas such as, it's a dog eat dog world and survival of the fittest, and, the last one standing at the top of the mountain. I mean, we've learned duality consciousness since we were children and we played Monopoly. we've learned duality consciousness every time we watch some of our favorite movies like The Hunger Games, where there's only so much, there can only be one winner, and you have to be smarter, faster, better. And then there's a winner and then there's a loser. Um, the other kind of consciousness that the one that we promote in a lot of spiritual teachings and in new age circles is unity consciousness. Unity consciousness stems from the idea that we are all one. And this is a very ancient idea. It goes all the way back to the most ancient alchemical texts that say we are all one, as above, so below, as within, so without. When we are operating from unity consciousness, our primary emotion is compassion, not competition. We see as one of us heals, we all heal. Or as the world heals, it helps us in return. This is not a zero sum place. It someone else can do better, and that also helps us get better. There is the idea of enough in unity consciousness, that there is enough for all of us, that we are all just a piece of the whole. And in unity consciousness, there is no othering in terms of there's no out groups and in groups, there's no favor, there's no punishment, and there's no demonization, and also no, platforming of some people, raising some way above their status as human being, and you know putting others down, through name calling, belittling, and again othering. So between these two, duality consciousness and unity consciousness, my work and a lot of spiritual practitioners' work is about moving into unity consciousness. They may or may not use that term. I also use the term wholeness. I consider myself a wholeness advocate, because unity consciousness, this idea of being able to see the entire world as one instead of divided into hierarchies and divisions, really comes from within, healing our own masculine and feminine, our own yin and yang, our own good and evil, basically marrying the two, the devil and the angel on our shoulders, and understanding that it is all part of our humanity. Now, getting back to where I started and what's really triggered me into writing this, or into doing this video today, is because of seeing unity consciousness and the principles of it being used as an excuse to opt out of the very difficult decisions that we are making as a country right now. And I can't think of a more important time for us all to be involved. And yet, more and more, I just see people kind of tapping out and saying that they're not going to go there. They're not going to pick a side because neither side is good. So they're just not going to pick. And somehow that is an expression of unity consciousness. And to this, I just want to say that moving into unity consciousness is an aspiration, but we are always going to be moving toward it. We're also going to be living between duality consciousness and oneness consciousness, because we are both soul and human. The soul side of us is working from that soul consciousness, that unity consciousness. But the human in us has decisions to make. The human in us every day has to make choices. Just because you live from a place of unity consciousness, or you aspire to, it doesn't mean you no longer have any preferences. It doesn't mean that you don't choose apples over bananas, or that you don't wear blue over red, or I don't know, like summer more than fall. You still, as a human being, have preferences, and you still have discernment. You don't have to other people to still say that they aren't deserving of this role. You don't have to other people, you don't have to demonize people to still choose one employee over another. That's what we're doing all the time. When we hire, when we choose our partner, when we go grocery shopping, when we decide to choose this book over that book, this recipe over that recipe. This is what it means to be human. We live in a world where there is so much in the middle. And yes, it's our work to unify and to reduce the separation between us. But in the meantime, we also have responsibility. We are human beings, we are complex. And this is part of our complexity. It is part of our responsibility to stand in our integrity, to know our truth. And you can do that. You can know your truth by not demonizing other truths. That's the practice. The practice isn't, I'm not going to make a choice, but the practice is, this is my choice for me as a human being in this time and this place. And I can accept and respect that that choice is right for you. So we still get to decide. We still have a responsibility. We are here to make choices and to make decisions. And yes, on that bigger scale, we are always practicing that movement from duality consciousness to oneness consciousness, but it is more about releasing the need to demonize the other than it is about still making decisions. So please do not use unity consciousness and wholeness and spiritual loftiness as an excuse to opt out of the important work that we need to do here on the earth. I say, give me anchors for my feet, secure me here, help me figure out how I can be of service here before I get wings on my shoulders.